Chapter 19. It never rains in Southern California. As Tyler was perusing the Outer Banks lighthouse, Chandra Rose was up to something completely different. She had in fact heard Dame Marsh's clarion call, but had felt too tipsy and despondent to reply. She had taken the delicious dinner that Mario had so thoughtfully prepared back to her sister's bed and breakfast. The two had shared the tasty treats and were sitting on the wraparound porch of the old bungalow-style cottage, reminiscing about their childhood. Anything was better than thinking about Sky. But Chandra didn't have to wait long as the lights of a car pulled up in front of the cottage. Chandra could sense him before he even arrived. But how could he have found her here of all places? She almost never spoke of Megan, and when she did, Sky was always preoccupied with something else. The car stopped and the door opened, and the figure made its way up the long, rose-lined path to the porch. "I wasn't expecting anyone tonight," Megan said, rising from the dinner table to go inside and check her register. "It's for me," Chandra said, rising and puffing up into all of her almost 6 feet of fineness. She braced herself for the sight of him. He always made her knees go weak. Sky walked with boldness up the rose-lined path. He was puffed up into his almost 6 feet 5 inches. He braced himself because his heart always skipped a beat when he saw her. What had gone wrong here? How could two souls who obviously loved each other so much be at this crossroads? "Time will soon reveal all the secret reasons we were parted." A line Chandra had read somewhere on an oracle card popped into her mind. She wasn't sure where this would go, but hoped he would skip any theatrics. There was only one sheriff in town, and he wouldn't be pleased to be called out at this time of night for some lover's quarrel. Chandra's heart skipped a beat. Sky's heart was in his throat. The walk to the porch seemed to take an eternity. And then she heard it in her mind. What sounded like a cacophony of lost souls was calling out into the night. The souls were tired and angry, and they meant to wreak havoc. They meant to cause trouble tonight, and they wanted very badly to be bad. "If only you had listened to me, girl," the spirit of Dame Marsh said as she led 200 disincarnate souls of island thieves, bad guys, and girls towards the wharf. She needed to get to the root of something, and she needed it done now, her way. The souls moaned and groaned and obeyed Dame Marsh simply because they didn't have anything better to do. Before Sky even made it to the porch, Chandra had run inside to grab her selenite wand. She needed some big guns to help her with this work. She didn't feel the power that lay deep within her, and she didn't feel like she could do this work on her own. She needed the shaman. So she called out to his guides in her mind, asking them to break into his mental space and let him know there was trouble. She didn't necessarily need him physically there on the island for the extraction to work, although it would be nice. But there might not be time for that. She pulled on her jacket, dumped her cell and wand in her bag, kissed her sister on the cheek, and walked out of the door, bustling past a bewildered Sky Monroe on the way out. "I'll have to catch you later, darling," she shushed back over her shoulder as she almost ran to the car. "I'm needed somewhere else right now." The engine revved and the car lurched out of the driveway as the spirits at the wharf tipped over a trash can filled with fire and flaming rubbish. They would get some attention one way or another. Chapter 20. The Rafters. Dame Marsh egged the spirits on as she tried to get the attention of someone who could help. What was her plan, and what did she need help with? Dame Marsh had never told another soul about the secret that lay deep inside of herself. She didn't want another soul to know at the time. But Tyler was not her only child, and the bullion was not the main reason she had called him home to the island. He needed to know the truth. He had a sister, and he needed to know all about her. And if Dame Marsh had her way, this little girl, no longer a small child, but a beautiful, powerful woman would be arriving soon. And then Dame Marsh could put the entire plan into action, for her motives now were only driven by love, and as with all things, love is what conquers all. The flaming bins were only a small diversion, and the angry mob of spirits and ghosts wanted only to have a little fun. No harm done. The spirit of Dame Marsh was pretty happy with herself. She had always gone about things with grand style, and even in death she was making her mark. The car pulled up slowly to the wharf parking lot, and Chandra slipped out of the driver's seat with selenite wand in hand. She had received on the short drive over the ping back from her shaman friend Beauregard. He could help. He wanted to join her on the island, but she dissuaded him with ideas of delayed flights and too many things to have to attend to at the right moment. He might not make it in time, and so they set up an etheric grid in the astrals so they could use it to help souls cross over. No wayward band of party-reveling spirits was going to hurt someone on their watch. Chandra thanked Beauregard, and rather than dial him on her cell, they continued to telepathically talk about next steps. Chandra wanted to see ground zero, so to speak, the spot where the disturbance was emanating from. She felt there was someone there waiting for her, and she wouldn't be disappointed as Dame Marsh waggled her finger, showing confused spirits where to cause more trouble so she could draw the girl in closer. Her plan was almost complete. She would have her daughter close by again, and her messages of love would not go unnoticed. She just needed more practice at being kind. She was, after all, still a spirit soul in training again, and had to recall how to be more loving after a lifetime of being so dissonant.